Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. It's a new day, another opportunity, y'all, to make money in the market or to just learn from the market, right? But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only, y'all. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at the VIX. And as you can see on this 30-minute chart right here, the VIX is popping up, right? So that must mean the SPY is dropping. That's normally how it happens, and that's not always the case. Let me go ahead and say that, right? So where are we going to have trouble with the VIX? It could very well come up and test the 1647, which is the ATR trailing stop right here on the 1 hour chart. So that is a level that we might need to be mindful of. If we break this level, right, we could very well continue going in. I have that 1761. It wouldn't surprise me if we came up and retested that 1761. So I would say be careful if you are trading to the upside today based on what the VIX is showing right now. Again, when the market opens at 9:30, anything is possible. I always say trade what you see, right? That's something to be mindful of. So let's look at the VIX to the downside. So looking at this 30-minute chart, if we break under this 200 EMA, which is right here at the 1532, we could very well, drop down. And that 1491 is possible. Again, I always say, y'all, always trade what you see. So let's go to the SPY really quick, right? So look at the SPY. This 515.44 was a level that I had marked, and that was a level of support, right? It came down and tested this level, broke out of our gathering spot, which was at the 517.15 here up until 517.63. It broke out of a lot of support. The 5 EMA, the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart. So we broke past the 515.44. I need to remember that level that just stopped the SPY from declining. I always say, what stopped it from moving? I need to remember that because it's probably, or it can come back and retest that area again. But as of now, we are declining, and we saw that based on the VIX, right? So where are trouble places? And I always go back to previous support areas, right? So that 515.44 was an area of support. Right now that 514.53 is an area of support. And the 200 EMA 513.85 is a 200 EMA on the 4 hour. So we could very well come back and test this area. My concern is if we start breaking under the 513.86, we can come back down to this 511.17 or this 510.25. That's something to be mindful of with the SPY. And right here on the daily chart is the ATR trailing stop, which is right at 507.17. It would not surprise me if we came back down to test this 507.19, which is right at the 50 EMA on the daily chart, which is at 507.75. So I would say trade carefully. SPY is at a place where it could continue down, and they could try to take it back to the upside. We don't know. Again, trade what you see, mark your levels of support and or resistance, and normally, I always say trade the gathering spots. Once you break out of the gathering spot, use that for your entries, along with the MACD crossing. Look for other confirmations. I say that often. So right now, the SPY is breaking out of a gathering spot, and looks like it's trying to go to the downside. What's interesting is, do you see how this 514.53, it came and tested this area? This next candle is right there on this line. Is that gonna take us back to the upside, or are we going to continue to the downside? Wait on your candle to close. I would move to a smaller time frame. Wait on your candle to close. That is the 5-minute. And make your decision then. Don't just jump into the trade thinking that this is a double bottom. We could very well go back to the upside because we still have a few minutes on this candle. It could reverse very quick. So let's go to Tesla. Tesla is Tesla. Let me say that. So Tesla's been trading in this range, as you can see, since this morning, and I have the gathering spot marked at 172.50 as the support and 173.01 as the resistance. Now we did make this double top here on this 30-minute at the 173.51. And as you can see, I have that level marked because that's the pre-market high. I need to watch this area because Tesla could very well come back and retest this area. If we break that area, we have broken through resistance. So I need to definitely be mindful of that. So as of right now, Tesla is finding support at that 172.49 or 172.50, and it's been at that place most of the morning. So if we break this level to the downside, then we have broken through a level of support, and it could very well continue down. I had the 5 EMA on the daily marked around the 172.10. We can come down, find support here. However, if we break this level of support, it could very well come and test this 170.83, which is the ATR trailing stop on the 30-minute chart. I marked the 168 level from yesterday, and it could very well come back and retest this 168. So don't rule that out. I always go back and mark that 170.01 with strong support, and now it broke through that and it tested the 168.51. So if you trade Tesla, I would say trade carefully, watch your levels of support and or resistance. I always ask, where am I going to have trouble? I need to figure out where that is. And right now to the downside, 170.83, 170.01 and 168.50. I would definitely watch those levels, and I'm sure there's some in between, but those are levels of support for me. Key levels of support is what I like to say. Again, trade what you see, right? So right now we are right at a bunch of support for Tesla. Again, if we break those areas, we could continue to the downside. Now let's look to the upside, right? The 173.51, if we break that, Tesla could very well come back up to the 180.90, which is the 200 EMA on this 4-hour chart. I would say, yesterday it had trouble here, or what day was that? On the 10th, it seemed like it had trouble at this 178, 179 area. So can we come back up to this area? We very well can. Anything is possible. I always say that, right? Trade what you see. Mark your levels and don't rush into your trades. Allow your trades to come to you. But as of right now, we're just trading in this gathering spot, or what I would say no trade zone, because it's really, it hasn't given us a clear signal as to what it really wants to do. And I always try to wait on a signal, before I just jump in the trade. So that's something to be mindful of. And that was Tesla. Let's look at NVDA. NVDA on the 30-minute chart, you can see this is our gathering spot. The low or the support is at 901.01. And the resistance is at 903.41. And as you can see, we've been trading in this zone for a while. So the breakout could be to the upside or to the downside. Right now we're at support, which is at the 983. It could very well drop down to the 893.72, which is right here at the ATR trailing stop to the downside, or the 890.81, which is a 50 EMA, or the 880.57. So those are our trouble places for NVIDIA to the downside. And keep in mind, this was a gathering spot from yesterday, which was 411. So be mindful of, it could always come back to this area, which is around the 866 area. NVIDIA moves about $32 a day. It is possible. Let me say that. Well, in the market, anything is possible. So be careful if you're trading NVIDIA in either direction. Right now, it's just creating a gathering spot, and based on the move up that it had, it wouldn't surprise me if it came back down to retest those areas. Looking at the 1 hour, our MACD is crossing. So I would say be careful, again, if you trade NVIDIA. Let's look at AMD. And AMD is creating a gathering spot here for us. And right now, it seems like I would mark this ATR trailing stop as the support, because that's where it came back to. So the 166, let's say the low of this candle, 166.54, it's what I would mark as the bottom, and the top, the 167.69. So this will be my no trade zone, or my area of not trading AMD until it gave me a signal as to which direction it's going. And again, looking at the 30-minute chart, AMD has trouble to the upside at this 50 EMA, which is at the 168.09, or that's a 20 EMA, I'm sorry, 168.09, and the 50 EMA, which is right next to it at 168.24. So if we break to the upside, that's a trouble place for us. And, again, it could come back up and test the 170.47, which is yesterday's high. Yes, yesterday's high was at 170.95. So can we break through this area and come back and retest this? We very well can. So those are your trouble places to the upside. Let's look at the downside. If we break this 166.58, we can come back and test this 165.06, which is the ATR trailing stop on the 1 hour chart. And that 164, if we break the 165.06, keep 164 in mind, because we could very well break that also. So again, today it seems like it's going to be an interesting day. The VIX was up, meaning SPY was down. The VIX has tested that area of the ATR trailing stop. So are we going to come back and retest this 1761? Looks like, we're getting rejected right here. But again, I will watch this candle. If you're, mindful of the VIX, I will watch this candle to see if we're going to continue to the upside, which in turn will keep us going to the downside with the SPY. And for the SPY, again, the 514.53, as you can see, we tested this. Are we going to break down? That's something to be mindful of, y'all. Trade what you see and be careful with your trades and not rush into your trades. Allow your trades to come to you. Look for other confirmations. Make sure you're going in, because of what you're seeing. Because of what you're seeing, and not just jumping into the charts, y'all. So I hope these videos are very, very helpful, y'all. This is what I see when I look at the market. Again, anything is possible. Anything can change. I hope that everyone have a very profitable day today. It's a new day with new opportunities, and I'm super, super excited at that. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today and learn. We learn and we grow together, y'all. And I always like to leave you with be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.